WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. My God, I don't believe it. There is sunshine. It's a miracle. Sun is when it gets bright. And since that hadn't happened in a while, I thought I might need to share that with all of you. Sunshine.
When it's bright.
Yeah, thank you. Let's check in Murfreesboro and see if it's bright up there. Down there, actually. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good, George. Facetious don't look
outside?
good. Yeah, facetious don't look good on you, though. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, we know what happens when it's sunny. We get it. We don't need to be. Who are you, John Calipari, right now? You telling us what we need to believe?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, this is the first time we've seen sun in
a while. That's for real. That's true. No, you're right about that. And those storms that keep coming through here are rather scary.
Whew. What a weekend. So on Saturday morning, I celebrated the fact my yard looked great. Sunday morning, when I woke up, I wasn't sure. Am I in South Vietnam or North Vietnam?
That's messed up, George.
It was so depressing. God. What about, I don't know, Kelly, I don't know exactly when y'all got it. Around 4:45 on Saturday afternoon, something blew through here at about 80 miles per hour.
Oh, gosh.
And I mean, it trashed stuff everywhere.
We didn't, Murfreesboro, that first round that came through, we didn't get it. It didn't even rain here. They were able to mow my yard this past Thursday. And then, we had a little bit come through the other night and it rained a bunch. It did rain a bunch. But once that first wave came through, I mean, we didn't have any. All we had was rain. So, I'm glad for us. I hate it for other folks, but we didn't have all the rough weather that everybody else had.
Wow. Then you're the fortunate one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because my wife is deathly scared of that stuff. She's deathly scared of storms. And I was, she makes me nervous because, she sits up and she watches the TV and I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, honey, I think it's dissipating. Well, that's not what they're saying. And I'm like, oh, gosh, baby. I'll go downstairs. I'll go to the basement with you,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that was special. So,
Yeah,
Kelly, I've spent, I don't know, probably about 3 hours between late yesterday afternoon and today picking up branches and sticks. There's still stuff out there. And about the time, and I hope some other people hear this, about the time that I started to want to complain, then I thought about the people who have absolutely had their lives leveled by these tornadoes, communities that have been obliterated. And I said to myself, shut the hell up.
My wife said that the other night. She said, I hope it don't come this way. And I said, I hope it dissipates for everybody. I don't want anybody to get caught in this stuff, man. And unfortunately, some people do. But you're right. When you start thinking about all the stuff that you got, and then you look at the news and all these people's houses have gone. There's nothing left. It's just rubbish. They're looking for pictures. They're looking for anything. That's sad.
Yeah. Billy, that does not get you out of, the pressure of producing a really good update.
Yeah, riveting update.
Yeah.
By the way, that was probably the worst 5-minute span of winds, tornadic activity. I mean, branches falling everywhere. I mean, that was the most. I was like, oh, this is real.
And I felt bad for Channel 5 because no matter what they did, they were going to catch it.
Yep.
split screen to life-threatening things and putting the Final Four in a split screen, they couldn't win no matter what they did.
No, they really couldn't. I was worried about that. I was worried about how they were going to handle that because I'm sure, if you're not in the area, then you're not really worried about it. But if you are in the area, you're deathly worried about it. So it was, you're right. I don't know, but when you talk about 80-mile-per-hour winds, that's hurricane force.
It is. It was brutal. Now, luckily, it got in and out quick.
Yeah.
But boy, did it leave behind South Vietnam.
Yeah, when it was
in my
in,
yard.
It was ugly.
George, I got one question for you. Do you fertilize your own yard?
I have assistants.
Well, you talk
my yard,
about.
By the way, my yard right now looks really good. When you get 10 feet of rain,
Well, that's usually what happens.
It's bound to be green. So it's very green right now. A year ago, around the middle of June, early July, it looked like Steiner Lift.
Well, you talk about the Final Four, and I don't know, was it a lot of that first half, the Auburn-Florida game, where at least in Nashville you had weather coverage, the split screen?
Yeah.
But at that point, you can't complain about that. But
people did.
They did. But our update brought to you by Lori Barnette Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyyusa.com. Give her a call, 615-969-4350. Even though there's split screen weather coverage, still had a really good number for the ratings. CBS notched the most watched Final Four since 2017. They averaged 15.3 million viewers for both of Saturday's games.
Both of which were terrific games, and Taylor Barnette will join us here in just a few moments to talk about the aftermath and what it might mean tonight.
Peaked with 20.4 million viewers. National title set. Florida a small favorite, 1.5 against Houston. Obviously, Houston comes back to beat Duke in a unbelievable comeback. Here is Kelvin Sampson after the game.
Well, it's lucky to have them, but it's not lucky that they do what they do, because that's work. They trust their work. They trust their teammates. I hear what people say. Duke this, Duke that. Duke's great. John Shire is awesome, but don't sleep on Houston. Don't sleep on Houston. We weren't 34-4 playing in the Toy Poodle League. We were 19-1 in the Big 12. Playing in the Big 12 helped us. Shout out to my Big 12 brethren, Coach Brett Yormark, and all the great coaches in the Big 12.
The Toy Poodle League.
I like it.
That's what he referred to the American Athletic Conference as. But he's coming at the Duke fans. I'm sure Duke fans didn't like that, but he's confident in his team. So there's Kelvin Sampson. Also, Vanderbilt transfer big man Jaylen Carey has committed to Tennessee, and he had some interesting comments on the backlash from Vandy fans that he's already gotten. He said, "I'm a Vol now. I don't care about no black and gold. I bleed orange now. I don't care about what they have to say."
This one is a mystery because he came to Vandy having spent a year with Mark Byington. And so you wonder what's what there. Now, in fairness, why did Tennessee want him? Because he killed them in 2 different games, had monster numbers. Having been at game 1 at Memorial Gym, they don't come anywhere close to winning that game over Tennessee without Jaylen Carey. I'll admit this one is a little bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah, but when you think it would come down to money, though, I'm sure UT said, "Hey, we'll do this. We'll pay you more than they're going to pay you."
Don't know.
I heard he wanted to start at Vandy, and Byington said, And so Carey probably, you would guess, wasn't happy about that in the exit meeting, and he's probably sounds like he's still bitter because he just went to the bitter rival of Vanderbilt. And this is actually the first time in men's basketball between these two programs that a player started at Vandy and went to Tennessee, which is kind of crazy to think about. I mean, that's never happened. Yeah, and it definitely will happen more. But I mean, this is his third school in 3 years. It's just it's really strange what this landscape is becoming. In the women's game, UConn takes down South Carolina 82-59 for their 12th national title under Gino Auriemma. This one comes in his 40th season with the Huskies. He's now 12-1 in title games in his 24 Final Four appearances. He's the greatest ever.
Don Staley let out some major league F-bombs that if you didn't have to be a lip reader to unite on that.
She was not
it
happy.
Was very obvious. There were a couple where you were like, wow.
She's got a little bit of Danny Hurley on the women's side in her, I think.
Maybe.
Oh, absolutely, she does. Hey, she's fiery now. She's a competitor. She played.
Yeah.
But that South Carolina team, you watch them one time. I watched them a couple times. They are really good, and UConn demolished them. I mean, that wasn't even a game. And then you saw what UConn did at UCLA. That was at the half. It was a 20-point game. It was over quick. Also in the NHL.
They needed a running clock in that one.
They did. Also in the NHL, Alex Ovechkin scored career goal number 895 yesterday, passing Wayne Gretzky to become the NHL's all-time goal-scoring leader at 39 years old.
So, to me, this is a little bit of the equivalent on the hockey front of Hank Aaron catching Babe Ruth. And by the way, tomorrow is the 51st anniversary of Babe Ruth being caught by Henry Aaron. And the scary thing is, I remember every last minute of it.
You and every other Braves
cool.
fan.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Also, in golf, practice at the Masters was suspended this morning because of rain and the threat of thunderstorms, but it's supposed to clear up this week at Augusta National. So shouldn't have to worry about too many other stoppages. The odds, Scotty Scheffler up top, plus 450. Rory McIlroy, plus 650. John Rahm at plus 1,400. And then Ludwig Aberg at plus 1,600 to win it this week.
Oberg.
That's Oberg?
Yes. The
Ludwig
A is silent.
Oberg.
It's an Oberg. Yes, it's Ludwig Oberg.
Okay. That's our resident golf expert, Kelly, with the correction.
Man. Do y'all even watch golf? Do you two even watch golf?
I mean, I'll watch the Masters and some of the majors. I just can't sit there for 4 or 5 hours. And I mean, the Masters I watch Saturday and Sunday, but in some of the other majors.
There's only so much of the undulating green and quiet.
But George, when you're good at when you can play the game and you see what these dudes do on Thursday through Sunday, it's unbelievable. I watch it every week.
They're incredible.
Kelly's right about, because I mean, I don't play a ton, but I remember when I started playing a little bit more, and then you watch more, it makes you want to watch more. Be like, hey, maybe I could hit.
Doesn't make me want to watch more.
You can't. We have such high expectations as amateur golfers, and we never practice, and we go out there and we think that we're going to shoot good, which George doesn't, but I do, and I never practice, and I don't understand. Like when I hit a bad shot now, I just say to myself, you know what? I don't practice, so what else should I expect?
He's taking out a 3-wood.
Well, watch the live tournament. They don't care if you're quiet. They're playing music
on the tee. Jordan Spieth.
I knew that was coming.
Hello, friends.
Keep going.
Hello, friends.
The Braves split.
Forget. I don't want to hear about the Braves.
All right, no Braves.
No Braves.
I'm not talking any Braves.
This is the anti-Brave zone for right now.
Gosh. Vlad Guerrero Jr. got paid big time. Him and the Blue Jays agreed to a 14-year, $500 million contract extension. So he's a Blue Jay for life, it looks like.
Are you finished?
Okay, I meant to say this first. This is on me. The SEC Network's Taylor Zarzour was announced as the new play-by-play man for the Titans, replacing Mike Keith. He originally joined ESPN in 2015. He's called college baseball games. He does the radio. He'll be doing the radio for the Masters this week on Sirius XM. So Taylor Zarzour.
Taylor was in this market years ago. I've known him, gosh, I don't know, 20, 25 years. He'll do a really good job. I'm told that he got a big endorsement from Jim Nance. Not much more needs to be said.
No.
What is Kelly's handicap? I'll tell you what mine is: golf.
Here's the deal, Stormy. You can tell your guy, I never post my scores, but when I was playing, I was probably a 5. I was shooting around 76 to 79. So I was probably around a 5, 77.
I'll shoot that same number, but it'll be on about 14 holes. Are we done?
We're done.
We're done. Okay. Congratulations to Taylor Zarzer. Look forward to having him on here in the near future. After the break, Taylor Barnette will join us, and we're going to talk about inbounds plays. Duke needs to get some new ones. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Hey, Preds fans, the Predators are back on home ice tomorrow night at 7 when they host the New York Islanders on Trisha Yearwood Bobblehead Night. Preds and Islanders tomorrow night at 7. Radio pregame coverage begins at 6.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, those of us who watched the Final Four on Saturday night, stunned at the ending of Game 2. There's just no other way to feel other than just stunned. Houston comes away with a win that it feels like they stole. And this is where I want to kind of tap into Taylor Barnette, the coach, from his past. Taylor, good to have you on with us. I will admit, while I think John Shire is a rising star in the coaching profession, I thought his inbounds plays Saturday down the stretch were just downright weak. They couldn't get anybody open. And Houston has a lot to do with it, but he's got to do better than that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Houston does have a lot to do with it for sure. It's not easy getting the ball in bounds against Houston at all. But you would think, it's like get the 7-footer and just put your hand up and throw the ball to his hand and just get it into a half-court set. But John did an unbelievable job with this team. I mean, they met expectations to go to the Final Four. I know it's an incredibly hard loss. I was shocked as well, to be honest with you. I mean, I know Houston was going to give it all they had, and they did, and they won, and they earned it. But John's got to be super proud of the work that he did this year and the team that he had.
So let's take now where this goes for tonight. How does Kelvin Sampson get them all into a room and say, listen, the celebration lasts for about 2 hours. We got to move on to a Florida team that's every bit as good as we are. Vegas has them as a slight favorite. What do you think happens tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I look at that guy right there, and, he's in his 6th year of college, so I don't think it took much for Kelvin Sampson to have to rally the guys together and say, hey, we still got one more. I think they already knew that. They're a mature team. LJ Cryer's old. That guy right there is old. They're mature. And so I think that they know they're not done yet. I don't think that they celebrated for too long. They want to win a national championship. That's what they've set out to do. I'm taking Houston tonight. I just think that those guys just play unbelievably hard. I mean, I thought the game was over multiple times on Saturday. I really did. And it looked like they were outmatched, but their heart was bigger than Duke's talent. And, those guys play so hard. They get so many offensive rebounds, and that guy's leadership right there is just incredible. So I'm picking Houston.
I'm thrilled to hear that because I'm going with Florida. Plaster bet of the day. We'll just let the cat out of the bag right now. We'll beat the Florida Gators. Part of where I will go with that is this young guy, Walter Clayton Jr., and there's an intangible about him late in games that just everything he does works.
He has the it factor. He's got the clutch gene. He makes it's like when you think he can't hit another big shot, he does. It's amazing. He's played so well. It feels like he deserves the MVP of the tournament, regardless if they win or not tonight. He's been incredible. I think it's going to be a great game. I think that he's going to have his toughest matchup he's had all year against Houston. And I think Houston's the type of team that has been hearing Walter Clayton over the past 24 hours, and they're going to go in with a chip on their shoulder and want to shut him down and give it all they got. So I think it's going to be a great matchup.
So tell me what you think worries the other team the most from each of these two groups. Let's start with what is it about Houston that Florida is the most worried about?
I think it's the same with Houston for every team. It's can you keep Houston off the offensive glass? But Florida has such great size. But like I said earlier, the size of Houston's heart is what gets them offensive rebounds, not their actual height, and it's their effort. And so I think that if you're Todd Golden, I mean, you're preaching to your team, hey, we got to keep them off the offensive glass, and we got to match their energy, we got to match their effort. Because I do think that Florida's more talented. And if Florida's able to match their energy and match their effort and their level of scrappiness and grit, then I think Florida can win the game. But I think that number one key is keeping Houston off the offensive glass.
Okay, let's go to the flip side of it. What about Florida worries Houston the most?
Yeah, I think it's, can we contain Walter Clayton? No team has been able to shut him down in the entire NCAA tournament. And it's like, if Houston can contain him and keep him somewhat in a bind throughout the game and make him take really tough shots, I think that they win the game. I also think, Florida's huge. I think that their size could bother Houston a little bit. Houston's not the biggest team in the world, but they play hard, and I think Florida's size could bother them a little bit.
Okay, let me try this, and then I'll turn it to Kelly. Do you think there's more pressure on Houston? They hear we've been to more Final Fours than any school that has never won the title. And Florida's sitting there going, we've won back-to-back national titles under Billy Donovan. And until they beat Auburn in February, nobody thought about Florida as a national title contender. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think this Houston team loves that narrative. I really do. I think they feed off that narrative. I think it drives them. I don't think they feel pressure. I just think it pours fuel on their fire. I think that they're going to go in tonight and they're going to do what they do. I think that's what makes Houston so good and what makes Kelvin Sampson such a great coach is they are who they are. They do not get outside of themselves. They play the same style of basketball every single game, and they do it to the best they possibly can every game. I mean, it's amazing. It's like you look at their offense and analytically, you're like, man, how do they win games? This doesn't add up, It's like they take some really tough twos, but they have a defensive identity as a team and a level of effort. And so I think that plays right into this narrative.
Kelly, for the record, I feel really good that I'm going with Florida. Taylor going with Houston just confirms for me I am on the right side.
I'm with Taylor because I think Houston wins. I mean, I think that was a huge deal for them the other night. And you just said their heart was bigger than Duke's will. Charles Barkley said, will beat skill tonight. And I thought that was a good way to put it. And I think Clark Kellogg says, well, will always wins. Well, skill wins sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought the other night, it looked to me like Houston had another gear. They knew that they're an older team. You talked about the 6-year guy, but they've got the guy from Baylor that transferred in there, the Cryer guy. They knew that their college basketball future was on the line, and they picked it up and they put it in another gear defensively. And I think Duke just never stepped up to it.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned somebody I think has to have another great game. I mean, LJ Cryer was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 6 of 9 from 3. I think he had 26 points. I think he's got to play well tonight. I'm excited for that matchup of him and Walter Clayton, 2 really good guards, 2 really experienced guards. I do believe that he has to play well, and I think that he will. He's a gamer, and he was fearless to start the game and throughout the game, and I think he will be again tonight.
When and I hear George talking about the inbounds play, and I got a buddy that was texting me the other night, and he was talking about the inbounds plays, and I was like, at some point you got to give them something. Players got to make plays, and Houston had a lot to do with that. But you look at those guys right there, and then the Proctor kid missed a couple of key free throws at the end, but all these dudes are young. And the Knipple is a freshman. Cooper Flagg's a freshman. I don't think Proctor's a freshman, is he? Is he a freshman? He's not a freshman. But he's still young. And people don't understand that don't play the game sometimes that that's their first time being in that situation. And sometimes you know, it's just like in a golf. You know, we were just talking about golf, and when you get Sunday at the Masters and you're in the final group and it's your first time ever being there, I mean, dude, you got to experience that sometimes. And sometimes when freshmen are in that game, they're great players. Cooper Flagg played good. He scored 27 points. The Knipple kid, like, they're all good players, but still, you got to experience that. And they may get a chance to experience it again. I'm sure Cooper Flagg's probably going to go to the NBA, but, like, you know, everybody's talking about Duke, and I thought Duke was going to win it all. I really did, even with the young guys that they had. But at some point, like, when you get hit with that, you've got to experience that to, you know, to understand how to handle that in those situations. That's tough.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's a level of experience that Houston had that gave them maybe a little bit of an edge. You know, I think if it was flipped around and it's Duke that's down 14 or whatever it was, I don't think you get the same result, just because I think those Houston guys have been there so many times. And, you know, Kelvin Sampson said it all, and I think it was the first media timeout or the second in his little sideline interview. He was like, "We've been here before. It's a long game. It's a long game." And you could tell they were not rattled at all. And I'll tell you what, though, those Duke guys, they had a heck of a year. I love Con Knipple. I think he is so good. He is going to make an excellent NBA player, I think, and have a long career in that league. Obviously, Cooper Flagg the same. You know, I'm a little bit bummed for John Shire, because I think that was a really special team that he had this year, and one that doesn't come by often. But I do think the experience of Houston weighed on him a little bit.
And you know what? Talking about John Shire, I mean, everybody says, well, he's a young coach too, and that was his first time being in a Final Four and being in a championship. And I'm sure with the Duke tradition and with them being able to get players there, I'm sure he'll probably be back. But still, I mean, I know he was on the staff of Mike Krzyzewski, but, like, still, I mean, that's his first time being in that situation, and you've got an experienced team that has no quit in them. It's just like Kelvin Sampson. Like, he breeds that in those guys, and they're tough. They're mentally tough, and it just got to a point, like, going on 11-1 run, it surprised me. I didn't think that would happen. But then when you look at it and you look at the experience they have, they're no quitters on that team.
No, they don't quit at all. They're relentless. When I watch them play, that's the word I think of. It's just relentless. And they're fearless. They play together, and they stick to what they do. And I think that's what is the sign of a great coach, is when you watch a team over and over again and they do the same thing over and over and over and over, and they win. That's the sign of a great coach and a great team.
And going to that first game, I was sitting there amazed at the shots that those guys were making in that like the shot making in that Florida Auburn game was unbelievable. And when Walter Clayton Jr., you know, steps to the side, and he's got Baker Mazzaro on him, who's a big, tall kid, and he shoots it over him and hits a three. I don't think I've ever seen a game like that where so many big shots were made.
Yeah, those guys are big shot takers and big shot makers on both sides. And you know, Walter Clayton's been doing it all year long. So I'm not surprised by him one bit. He has been a force all year long, and I think he'll continue to make big shots tonight.
What about you know, the Condon kid? That's the worst I've seen the Condon kid play. It really is. And I know he's playing against Janai Broome, who's a bigger guy. Like, he's tall and slender, and Janai Broome's kind of thick. But does he have to play better tonight for those guys, you think, against Houston?
Yeah, you know, it's a good sign for your team when your big fella doesn't play very well, you know. So I think he will play better tonight. I think that he's up for the challenge. I think he's been good all year, and I mean, you're going to be highly motivated. It's a national championship. I think a guy like him with his size, if you give the best effort you have, good things are going to happen. So I expect him to play better tonight.
With that being said, Janai Broome, I enjoy watching the shots. That the guy's a shot maker. There's no question about that. But how does that translate, do you think, into him being an NBA player? Because I don't know, man. He doesn't – athletically, he's not the greatest, but he does make shots. You can't take that away from him. He makes shots. He's physical. He's thick. But does that translate into the next level, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, he's going to get a shot. You know, I mean, he's that good where he's going to get a chance. He's going to get a chance to prove himself. Obviously, I think that I believe he really can make threes. He's not the best athlete in the world. He carves out space and can rebound. But he just has such a good feel for the game, and he can really play. And so I think that he'll get a shot. I think one thing that he'll have to clean up is he's become so accustomed to the college game being centered around him that that's not going to be the case anymore. He's going to have a much lesser role on an NBA team, and that could be hard to swallow.
Taylor, there's a 30-year age difference between Sampson and Todd Golden, which is the second largest age gap in a national title. Also, Sampson would be the oldest to win it. Golden would be the youngest to win it. So there's a lot going on the peripheral with this game, and obviously there's a lot at stake. To me, this is one of the better national titles, at least matchup-wise, that we have and that we're going to have. Hopefully it's a good game. Coaching-wise, obviously you would give the edge to Kelvin Sampson. You may disagree, but I think most people give the edge to Kelvin Sampson. But are we disrespecting, maybe forgetting a little bit, and maybe not giving Todd Golden enough credit with the roster he assembled, but also just his coaching? I mean, the coaches and the teams Florida's beaten this year have been unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm pretty unplugged when it comes to maybe what people are saying. I'm personally not. I think Todd Golden is just as every good of a coach as Kelvin Sampson. I think they have different styles, but what I see in both of them is that their guys want to play for them and they play really hard and they compete. And so I don't know if people are out there writing articles about Kelvin Sampson's a better coach, and I don't know. I don't really look at that. What I look at is, man, both teams are really, really good, and both teams play really hard for their head coach, and that says a lot about them.
All right, in this game, we know Walter Clayton is going to have to be a guy that Houston has to key in on, but who else on Florida's team are you looking at saying, we got to stop that guy? Kelly mentioned Condon, but, I mean, Elijah Martin, that dunk he had, I mean, Florida's got a lot of other really good players on that team.
Yeah, that dunk was nasty.
Nasty.
That was impressive.
Nasty.
I think he's another guy that's hungry. He's been there before. And he didn't win last time. And so I think he's got another shot, and he's kind of probably that first, transfer portal era guy who's been in a Final Four with one team and now is in a Final Four with another team. And so I think that he's a guy that could really explode tonight. I know he's hungry. He wants to score. And I think they're bigs. I think Florida's bigs, if they make threes tonight, that's a really big deal for them. And if they can get some offensive rebounds and get some easy buckets, any easy bucket against Houston's nice.
By the way, I think we're all now realizing why that FAU team was a Final Four team. Because in the moment, it's like, where's this coming from? But Elijah Martin, you know the coach who that was, Dusty May. You had, all kinds of guys. Who else? I'm forgetting in the moment.
Golden.
The Davis kid at Arkansas.
Michigan, Drago.
Yeah. Vlad Golden. That team was loaded.
They were really good. Talk about some really good recruiting. Finding guys that were under recruited and getting them. The fact that he got them to stay is so impressive for a whole nother year. That was impressive to me.
FAU. Hard to believe. Taylor,
isn't that crazy? That was now 3 years ago.
Was it 2 or 3?
I don't know. 2 or 3
years ago. I think it was 2.
Okay. Either way, Taylor, really appreciate this year all the good stuff from you on Mondays. By the way, you're going down tonight.
We'll see. Hey, it's Masters Week, man. We got a lot to look forward to this week.
Yeah, whatever.
Thank y'all so much for having me on the show.
Taylor, are you going down there?
No, man. I wish. I don't have that media pass like George has.
I've never been to the Masters.
Really?
I have never been.
I had a shot to go last year, man, and turned it down because I couldn't take my son. I want to go with him. First time I want to go with him.
You're a good dad, man.
Appreciate it. I'll try.
Taylor, we'll talk again next year.
I hope you and I talk before then, George, but yes.
I'm sure there'll be a text or two this evening. If it doesn't work out for me, I'm sure you'll be right there to pounce. And if the other
and vice versa.
If the other happens, I'll just, act like I've always been there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot for having me on. Appreciate you all.
Absolutely.
See you, brother.
All
Taylor
right.
Barnette joining us here on the show. As we go to the break, want you to know the Nashville Sounds begin a 6-game homestand tomorrow night at First Horizon Park. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday are all 6:35 games against Memphis. The Sunday game is at 2:05. And for more information, go to NashvilleSounds.com. They'll get you ready and raring to go for a week of baseball here in Nashville. After the break, we'll talk more about what's coming tonight, because I'll admit I'm not buying some things I'm hearing. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket.
The Predators win!
Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
Two total screw-ups of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we're probably going to have some pretty good debate about where we're going here in just a second, because I'll admit I am in total disagreement from what a lot of people are trying to put out there. Number one, Duke was plenty ready for the big stage. This has nothing to do with young kids who had never been there before. They got a 14-point lead on Houston and damn near buried them. The problem is that the coach wasn't ready for the big stage late. You got two big monsters in the middle. You got Cooper Flagg. You got the other kid, and I can't think of his name. Thank you. You put one of them at the foul line, you lob the ball to him, and that takes care of the pressure. Think about those of you who are a little older like me. First time I ever saw that be the way you relieve full court pressure was Kentucky with Sam Bowie. You just lob it up there, you let your big guy go get it, and everybody else gets the hell out of the way. This is not about Duke's players not being ready. This was about John Shire. As good a coach as I think he is, he gagged late. You can call it what you want. Duke was the better team, and they didn't walk out of there with the win. It's just me.
I know it is just you.
And that makes you feel better, doesn't it?
I mean, I've been in those situations before, George, and sometimes when you're a young guy, I know you say, well, it has nothing to do with them being young. They were 14 points ahead, and it should have been over. But when you've got a team that's fighting for their tournament life, they're older, they love their coach, there's no quit in them, they're really good defensively. It seemed like they kicked it up a notch. And I just think when Proctor goes to the line, he misses those shots. He's a young guy. He's never been in that situation. Knipple's never been in that situation. Flagg's different. He's one of those guys. But, you know, you're going to put this on a play. You're going to put an inbounds. But at some point, your players got to play, and they got to go make plays, and they got to get open. And if they're not getting open, then maybe you do go over there. And that's why I said about John Shire. He's been in that organization. He's played for Mike Krzyzewski. He's coached for him. He's been in those big games, but he wasn't the head coach. And sometimes the head coach, man, he's wearing that crown. And the crown is heavy sometimes. And when you get put in that situation and you're the crown holder, if you've never been in it, you've never experienced it as a head coach, it's tough. And I don't know. It got away from them. I really thought that they would win the national championship, but, you know, we can sit around here and say all this and all that, but, you know, until you experience something like that, it's different.
Okay, but the concept that their players couldn't handle the big stage is not true. They got up.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. Yeah, I'm just saying that. You know, sometimes in those pressure situations, and it's the first time you've experienced it, you do things. I've done things that, like,
no question.
You didn't practice that. I didn't practice that. And I practiced it over and over. And then you go into a game and you lose your train of thought and what you were doing, and you just react, and it's not the right reaction. And I don't know. It's just tough, George. It's tough sometimes for those guys. I thought they were going to win the game. I thought they still should have won the game. I even thought Cooper Flagg was going to be he was going to be one of the Duke legends to make that shot. I mean, I really did. When he got the ball, I was like, there they go. They're going to win it, you know. But he came up short because the defensive guy, that guy, I forget his name, but he put it. I mean,
Roberts.
They forced on those shots, man. They had hands and face, and they were forcing them to make shots. And the last 4 or 5 minutes, they couldn't make shots.
Houston did a lot to come back and win it, but Duke gave them a ton of help.
Yeah,
they did.
When you have that much talent on a team, Duke has 3 lottery picks, most likely, and you're up by 7 with a minute left. For me, it's hard not to blame the coach. Just for me, because you got to put your players in position to win, right, Kelly? I mean, that's like
guys, man. I know it. I get it, man. But it's until you're in that situation, it's tough because I've been in those situations, and you can blame it on this guy, you can blame it on the coach. But here's the deal. You just said it, Billy. Where the buck stops is with the head coach, and he's got to take the blame for it. He's got to step up and be the guy of the organization and say, hey, I wasn't good enough at the end of the game. I'll learn from it. I'll get better.
I was watching that game. I thought about it, 20, 30 minutes after. I'm like, how did that happen? It kept coming back. John Shire.
Well,
I like him a lot. And he did a heck of a job this year. But it was hard not to look at that and go, man, they weren't ready. And you probably can blame the ACC.
Well, where it keeps coming up, Billy, is it's not one inbounds play against full court pressure.
Yeah.
What was it? 5 of them
at
the end? And there wasn't a clean one in the bunch.
And I'll say this too. The luck was for once not on Duke's side. The luck to get that foul's a bad foul call. I think we can all agree on that. That wasn't the game. There was a lot of other instances that mattered. But for Cryer to go up there and hit both free throws, but also, I mean, they hit huge free throws. Was it Cryer?
It was Roberts.
Who's
a 60% free throw shooter.
Okay, it was Roberts is 62%, makes the first, and tells everybody to calm down. We got this. Things happened, and maybe it's destiny. Houston wins. I think they keep it going, but it's just stuff like that, man, they're going to do this.
And I will say this, watching my daughter play basketball, you have to know, like inbounds, the player that you put to throw the ball in bounds is critical. You have to know each player. You have to know who gets frustrated or who can't handle it. And you have to know that. And you got to go down your line and say, hey, this guy is capable of doing that. This guy is a good decision maker. This guy can do it when times are. I mean, they almost got caught with a 5-second call or 10 second. Is it 5-second call? Yeah. I mean, it was like 4:59. On one of the plays earlier. So
yeah.
I don't know. It was a cascade. It was a storm that headed that way. And when you go on an 11-1 run at the end of the game, man, golly, they just couldn't score. Duke just went cold at the wrong time.
And Duke doesn't have a true point guard either. That probably hurt them. Sion James is a good player, came from Tulane, strong guy, but not a true point guard. And that's what you look at in those, and you talked about it wasn't just that one inbounds.
Oh,
they
were
struggled
about 5
to get it across half court. I mean, the last minute or two, Houston's defense won that game. And, you got to give them credit. But at Duke not having a true point guard that can really, like John Shire. John Shire is a player was that at Duke for Coach K. And Duke didn't have a John Shire on the floor, which is kind of ironic. I loved watching him. They didn't have a guy that could just settle it down. Cooper Flagg's not going to do that for you. But that's what I noticed.
Can y'all imagine what the flight home from San Antonio to Durham was like yesterday? Not a lot of cheer.
Well,
when the old stewardess says, we're so glad to have you with us.
They try to make you feel better. I couldn't stand that. Good gracious.
Saw a video after the game with, I think it was Shire, Knipple, and Flagg in the golf cart. Because it's a mile walk just to get back to your locker room in those big football stadiums.
Big old
and they're in the golf cart and just the ugliest look on their faces. So
it was pretty shocking because
I couldn't believe it.
I'm sure Patino, as he watched that, had a flashback to the Christian Laettner shot. And I'm sure a lot of people did, saying Duke will get the ball to Flagg and they'll find a way to win.
Also, why do you heave? You almost 4 seconds left. Why do you heave that?
I don't know. I don't know. That was
4 seconds, but that's another part. They don't. Did they not trust Sion James to catch it short, dribble up or Flagg, and you try to heave it and you get a? I didn't get that either. It's not like there was 2 seconds left.
I'll leave it with this. I got serious doubts, even though Sampson, will get them, by yesterday, they were well aware the celebrating needed to end. But you wonder, how do you get a team out of the clouds when they have pulled one out of their rear end the way Houston did?
That's the big work that he's going to have to do. He had to do yesterday to keep those, because that was, they were down. They were losing that game, and they picked it up. They stepped it up defensively, and they came back, and that was huge. Now, that wasn't the championship, guys. That was a get to the championship. Now we're going to see how he's handled those guys yesterday in this game.
But it was celebrated like it was a championship.
Yeah.
For that matter, by Sampson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
I know we got to go to the break. When we come back, we will start a week of stat of the day that will be better than last week. Why? Because we were over the big donut. We will do better, and then we'll be joined by the legendary play-by-play voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, most recently Jacksonville State. And Friday night, I got to do an arena football game with Eli Gold. He'll join us to start the top of the hour. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, Preds fans, the Predators are back on home ice tomorrow night at 7 when they host the New York Islanders on Trisha Yearwood Bobblehead Night. Preds and Islanders tomorrow night at 7. Radio pregame coverage begins at 6.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey, what's up, Braves fans? It's Chase McCabe, and baseball is back. The Braves Country Road Trip is coming to Nashville, and they're teaming up with the Predators and us here at 102.5 The Game. Join us at BetMGM Sports Lounge on Wednesday, April 16th, as we host a watch party with the Braves. They'll take on the Tampa Bay Rays starting at noon. Nash and Blooper will also be there. You can participate in some trivia and games with your opportunity to win tickets and autographed baseballs. Plus, they'll have some great giveaways. Come by and watch the Braves and the Rays with us starting at noon on Wednesday, April 16th.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You can't miss a moment with Greeny.
Caleb Williams wanted to go to Washington and didn't want to go to Chicago. Now you're seeing why. This thing is a disaster because everyone saw it coming. If you were a quarterback and you had all the talent in the world, would you want to go pay for Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron for a franchise that has not developed a quarterback in literally 100 years? No, you would not. And so now they're getting exactly what you saw coming.
Mike Greenberg, Greeny.
Micah Parsons gets you a king's ransom. I'm old enough to remember the Herschel Walker trade. I was working in the media when it happened. And I remember people saying, I can't believe the Cowboys would trade him away. Oh, the Vikings will never lose again. And the Cowboys turned all of those picks into teams that won 3 championships in the next 6 years.
Greeny, weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Eli Gold coming up. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going basketball today. The last time Florida played in a national championship was 2007 under Billy Donovan. Who was the leading scorer for the Gators that day?
Okay, Kelly, let's run through that starting five. You ready?
Yeah, because I don't remember 'em.
Oh,
Give it to me.
gosh. Joakim Noah.
Yeah, that's okay. So
Al
that is the group.
Horford.
Okay. Yep.
Corey Brewer. Lee Humphreys. Oh, gosh, I'm missing one. That's terrible.
It's either
Horford,
Corey Brewer or
Noah.
Joakim Noah. When you think?
You know what? What the heck? Given that he's from Portland, Tennessee, and that's good for business, show us Corey Brewer.
Corey Brewer.
Oh,
It's actually Al Horford.
Al Horford, who has gone on to have a great pro career. Celtic.
He seems like he would be the consummate professional.
Yeah.
And you know, Horford actually, I don't even think he was an everyday starter, if I'm not mistaken, for that Florida team.
Who am I missing off that five?
Maurice Spates.
Oh, wow.
And Brandon Powell as well.
I got Lee Humphreys.
Yeah.
Some people would have forgotten that one. That year, that was the year that that Joakim Noah tried to rip the ball out of Kevin Stallings' hands.
Which is a great clip.
Yeah, it is. Kevin had no part of that. Anyway, we are officially now into the 4:00 hour. From our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, let me see how I do the introduction. He is one of the legendary voices all time in Southern college football history. He's probably called more big games than dadgum near any announcer I can think of. He also happens to be a good friend. Let's say hello to the one and only Eli Gold. Eli, how are you?
I am well, George. How are you today?
I'm good. You want a funny question at the start?
What's up?
You've worked with some great color announcers over the years.
Yes, I have.
When I think back through a lot of them.
Being one of them.
Right. Friday night was not one of those nights.
No, you did a great job. For the folks who don't know, George worked the telecast with me on Friday night of the Nashville Cats game against the Oregon Lightning. And you did a fine job. You really did. I don't know why you insist on denigrating your performance. You did a good job. You really did.
Well, if I don't do it, Kelly's going to. So I beat him to the punch. Eli, tell people about your spotter, because some people don't even know what a spotter does for a play-by-play announcer, but kind of tell us the story there.
A spotter for any play-by-play guy. If you look at Al Michaels, he always talks about Malibu Kelly Hayes, who's been with him forever. My spotter, which is another set of eyes that works with you in the booth, my spotter is Butch Owens, and Butch has been with me for, 37, 38 years now. And what he does is on a normal play, the play-by-play guy is responsible for the offense and for the ball. The spotter is responsible for the defense, the tacklers, stuff like that. But, as the day goes, things happen. Butch will spot things. He'll let me know about them and so on. And that's how it works. He's just another set of eyes who has been with me for so long that he knows what I want even before I ask for it. And that's just a remarkable situation that we've got going.
That was one of the things that really caught my eye Friday night is he's giving you a bunch of hand signals. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, okay, what's he trying to tell him? After all those years, would he ever confuse you with a hand signal?
No, as a matter of fact, there have been a couple of times, including one on Friday night. I don't know if you caught it or not, but I was looking down at my chart for some biographical piece of information, a little bit of minutia that I wanted to share with the viewers. And I didn't look up in time to see the play start. I wasn't watching the field. And I called the play without having seen it, because through his hand signals, Butch told me exactly what happened. So it really is, it's a lot of nonverbal communication. We've done that for so many years. And we just know that, if there's a fumble, if there's a block, if there's this, there's that, and I trust him implicitly. If I talk about the running back who makes the turn, goes outside left end and gets 5, 6, 7 yards, whatever, and if Butch points to somebody and gives me our hand signal for this guy made a great block, well, I will not even think twice about it. If Butch said it, it happened. If I didn't see it, what have you, I just go with it. And yes, we do have all those hand signals because obviously he can't talk to me in the middle of a play. So over the 38 years now, we've developed a whole series of hand signals.
Eli, no secret here that over the years, both through your NASCAR work and your Alabama work, you have a ton of fans and a ton of friends from the Tennessee-Alabama border all the way up into Nashville. So I've had
yes, sir.
I've had 2 or 3 people over the weekend say, okay, I know what you did with Eli. How's he doing? And the answer I gave him was, number 1, you seem very happy. And number 2, you seem really healthy, which is what everybody wants to hear.
Yes, I'm doing great, George. I really am. Those 2 years with the cancer was tough. I'm not going to lie. There were a couple of days there where the doctors told my family, you might want to spend the night here at the hospital. He may not make it through the evening. You might want to be here. I was a very, very, very sick boy. The cancer really knocked the crap out of me. But, through great doctors, the correct medicine, the chemo, all of that that I took for weeks on end, I got better. And thank God I am okay now. I'm more than okay. As a matter of fact, all of my tests have been perfect. And I do have another series of scans and everything scheduled for June. And if everything remains as is, I won't have to go back for another year. So I have really, I've been blessed. The Lord looked after me. The people who had called me and sent me letters and sent me notes, you can't believe that medicine. That is, you hear people tell you that, and I hope that nobody listening knows what I'm saying. I hope they haven't had to deal with it. But so many people have dealt with cancer, or a family member has cancer, or whatever it is. I have been blessed, and all of those prayers and all of the everything that I have dealt with has just been, and of course, getting back into the broadcast booth. At the time when I first got over my illness, I was working to get back to the Alabama football booth, to broadcast Crimson Tide games again. And I did. And then when they got rid of me, thank God the folks here at Jacksonville State picked me right up. Literally, within 2 hours of Alabama announcing my release, for reasons that I'm still not quite clear on. Regardless, though, within 2 hours, the folks here at Jacksonville State hired me, and I have been doing baseball and football and basketball and volleyball and talk shows, and I am busier than ever, and I am loving it, and that has been the absolute best medicine for me.
Man, I love hearing this. So after we got off the air at 5 o'clock, I had about an hour to just kind of sit around and chew the fat with a dear friend, Eli Gold. And I made the baseball analogy that what Jacksonville State acquired was a number 1 in a starting rotation. not a fifth guy, an innings eater, but an ace, a number one that they could have never gotten under normal circumstances. And Eli, it sounds like they've treated you like you're a number one.
Well, as to the ranking or anything like that, that's for other people to say, George. That's not for me to say. I'm just thrilled to be working.
I was the one who said it.
I know, but I am thrilled. And yes, these are the nicest people. They are the nicest people I have ever dealt with in my life. They treat you like a person. They care about you and your wife and your child in our case, and so on. I mean, everybody. They couldn't be nicer. From the athletic administration at Jacksonville State to the university's overall administration to the board of trustees, which includes Randy Owen, the lead singer for the group Alabama, who has become a dear, dear friend along with his wife, Kelly. I mean, it's small, you get a crowd of 22,000 for a football game and you're pretty well packed out. Sure, it's different, but when I'm on the air, I'm doing the same broadcast. It matters not whether there's 100,000 people in the stadium or 22,000 people in the stadium. I'm still doing the same broadcast. And the basketball people have been wonderful. And it doesn't matter if there's 9,000 or 19,000 in the stadium, in the Coliseum, or if there's, 4,000. I still do the same broadcast. The talk show has been wonderful. Baseball has, I love doing baseball. And baseball has been so much fun, and the team is competitive. But everything, George, has been so nice. These people are so caring that you want to pinch yourself. It is unbelievable.
I know that a ton of people that are listening to this are thrilled at what you're laying out there for people. Kelly, this is one of my all-time best broadcast friends. Somebody how many times have I picked up a phone and said, Eli, what do I do? And a couple of times I've gotten answers that would crack you up because he's got a great sense of humor. Kelly, say hello to Eli Gold.
Eli, how you doing?
Good, Kelly. What's going on?
Hey, I was just sitting here when George was talking about a spotter, and when I did ball games, we had our spotter. But this is kind of a funny question too, but people don't understand this. In the world of trying to get kids to these colleges or these universities, they've got all these uniforms, and how annoying is it to you and your spotter when you get a uniform that you can't see the numbers very good? How annoying is that? Just tell everybody that's so annoying.
That is terribly annoying. Now, I'll tell you, when I was doing the Alabama games and when I do the games here at Jacksonville State University, they do not, Alabama's uniforms haven't changed, since Abraham Lincoln was in the White House. That doesn't happen. And here at Jacksonville State, they've either got the red, the black, or the white, so they're routine. So that's no problem. The teams that show up with the camouflage or a lot of these uniforms that look good up close, but you can't read the numbers from the grandstand, let alone the press box. They don't realize they're not doing their fans justice because you can't identify who the players are. And that is problematic. The other one, of course, is the light orange numbers on the white jerseys for the Tennessee Volunteers. Going back to the days when Johnny Majors realized if you had that combination and you sent the opposition team some black and white scouting videos, they couldn't see who was who. You couldn't read numbers, and that stayed. And so there are problems in certain instances, but, you do the best you can. And if you can't see them, you can't see them. And, nobody is suffering except that given team that has those uniforms that you can't read. But, thankfully, I've not really had that problem terribly because of the teams I've worked for have been very, very conservative with their uniforms. And when it gets bad, it falls on Butch to really, my spot is to really step up and make sure I don't make a mistake. He's always double checking me, particularly when we have those kind of weird uniforms.
So you were at Alabama for a long time, and then you said, you got let go, and then you go to Jacksonville State. But how much do you still enjoy? Because you seem like you're, with all the stuff that you said earlier, with doing volleyball, with doing baseball, with doing all this stuff, how much do you enjoy college sports still?
I enjoy college sports. I love pro sports. Growing up in New York City and living there for 23 years, born and raised in Brooklyn, I was always a pro sports fan. I love the collegiate game. I really do. And the atmosphere that you have at a college game that you really don't have in most major league cities. Not everyone, but in most major league cities. So I still love it. But I will be very honest. I don't go out of my way to watch Bama games anymore. I don't listen to them. I just, I've got other priorities, and that is Conference USA and Jacksonville State's Gamecocks. That's just the way it is. I care about the Bama people, the fans, the friends that I've made, the coaches. I heard from one of the coaches just recently who happened to see me on a telecast of basketball. And so I hear from them. I care. I don't hear from the management. I don't think about the management at all at the University of Alabama. But that's, that was the way it went. But I do love the games. But if I have to watch something and they are up against each other, I'll watch JSU. I will not watch Alabama.
I got you. So my last question, Eli, and it's going to be, because it seems like I ask everybody this, but I just want to know from your perspective, being around it for so long, and it worries me about the smaller schools, the Group of Five schools. Mine was a Group of Five school at Middle Tennessee. Jacksonville State's a Group of Five. Jacksonville State's got a great following. It's in a great college state. But what do you think is going to happen? And I don't think anybody knows, but in the next couple of years or 5 or 10 years down the road, this new college landscape, what does that mean for smaller schools like Middle, like Jacksonville State, like a Troy?
Those aren't necessarily smaller schools. Okay, they're smaller than Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, what have you, but they are not a small school, like a whoever, Trevecca Nazarene or somebody.
Yes.
There's a difference there. I think these schools will always survive. There'll always be a place for them. There are going to be changes with the dollars, the NIL, and all of this, and and you're going to have certain schools get hurt with the transfer portal. That's just the way it is. But they will always succeed. Now, some of the really small schools and some of the sports, the really niche sports at the smaller schools, I could see where they're going to struggle, if not disappear. Then I hope and pray that that's not the case. But the MTSUs, the JSUs, the Troys, they will always be around. But it's going to be a little different, and there'll be a lot more changeable rosters, I think, than we have seen over the years.
Eli, I appreciate you taking the time. I still love listening to games on the radio. I feel like I always will. There's something so pure about it. As a kid, do you have a moment looking back where you fell in love with radio and kind of inspired you to get into radio broadcasting?
Well, I was always a sports fan, okay? Growing up, I was always a sport, and I was a terrible student, okay? So, I'm serious now. I would not have graduated from high school. I'm being very serious. I would not have graduated from high school if my mother hadn't gone to my principal and basically plea bargained for him to let me out. My principal, I'm serious. My principal in high school was my mother's social studies teacher when she was a student in Brooklyn. And I'd never go to class. I'd walk right by school and go to work. I worked at Madison Square Garden. I worked at other radio stations in the New York area. Again, we're going back, obviously, to a time when things were different than they are now. But I didn't have anything to do with classrooms. I rarely blackened the doorway. I rarely darkened the doorway with my presence. But I loved sports. I was a great first baseman, but I couldn't run, or I didn't have much of a stick. So I wasn't going to be an athlete, and I wasn't built for it. But I certainly loved sports, from the Rangers to the Knicks to the Yankees in those days. Remember now, the Giants and Dodgers had moved, and the Mets hadn't been born yet. I was in that unique time frame when New York City was a one-team city. And so I was a Yankee fan, and I followed them religiously. So, things were great. But to say that there was one moment, I don't know if that's the case. I grew up listening to Marv Albert doing the Rangers and the Knicks. I grew up listening to Mel Allen and Red Barber broadcasting New York Yankee baseball on the radio. I had these magnificent voices to aspire to, but, I didn't want to be the next Marv Albert. I wanted to be the first Eli Gold. And that's how I approached it. And I did everything I could. I mean, I would walk home from a grocery store, and I'd go past a schoolyard, and there were kids playing basketball. And I didn't know them, had no idea who the heck they were. But I would wrap my fingers around that fence, and I'd hang on the fence, and I would do the play-by-play of that basketball game. And I would just make up names. You had Frazier and Reed, and you had Smith and Jones and Johnson. It didn't matter who they were. I started working on my descriptive skills. Same thing I did going to Yankee baseball. I went to the Yankee Stadium, oh God, I can't tell you how many hundreds of times in the days when it cost 65 cents to get into the bleachers and $1.05 to get into the upper deck. And I would sit there with my little cassette tape recorder and do the play-by-play. Didn't know who was who, didn't have game notes, didn't have stats, but I would describe things. And that's how I developed that. And then eventually got into hockey, and things kind of took off from there. But I was always a sports fan and wanted to be involved with sports. I couldn't afford to go to the Rangers games or the Knicks games, so I did the next best thing. I went and had them pay me. I sold peanuts at Madison Square Garden for years, and that's why one of my books is called From Peanuts to the Press Box. I sold peanuts at the Garden just to get in and watch the events. I'd stand in the upper deck, worst seats in the house, but they were closest to the press box. And I could talk to the broadcasters as they came out and used the men's room. And I'd have questions for these guys. And then I would stare into the radio booth during the game. I couldn't hear them, too much crowd noise. I couldn't hear them, but I was watching them talk and people passing them notes and reading copy and doing whatever. I was just eating up with it. And that's what got me going.
I could listen to that answer
all day
for the next hour.
I had a feeling that would get him going.
Oh, my goodness. Eli, I'll leave you with this. Okay, talking about announcers who did not do particularly well in school. It will be 51 years ago tomorrow that Henry Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record. 4 days earlier in Cincinnati, he hit number 714 in the opening game of the year off Jack Billingham of the Reds. It should have worked out just fine for me. I was a freshman at Battleground Academy. I maybe had a transistor radio in my ear listening to it. in math class and screwed the whole damn thing up because instead of keeping quiet, when Aaron hit the 3-run homer, I yelled. Out, and I got caught, and I paid dearly for it.
Great.
Hey,
and if you don't know what a transistor radio is, you can Google it. Look it up.
Yeah, look it up,
But
Billy.
I know exactly what you were saying, George. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, listen, it was great being with you on Friday night, man. Always a treat to see you. And people don't realize that, when I was the voice of the Predators for a season, how much you had to do in getting me that job while they had an opening to fill. And I will never, ever, ever be able to thank you enough for that. And all the people I know in Nashville, from Pete Weber and Terry Crisp and everybody else. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. But it's been a wonderful run, and it's still going on. And I thank you for having me on this afternoon.
Wow, thank you. Because if I had the opportunity, I'd do it again. That was a great hire on their end back in 2005. Eli, thank you as always.
All right, George, take care of yourself.
He's one of my favorites. He's one of the all-timers. And I said the truth earlier when I said he is one of the legendary voices in Southern college football history. Eli Gold, and we thank him for joining us. Okay, we cleared the decks, and we're going to open up the phone lines. And I'm looking for some red-blooded Americans who want to talk about sports, maybe tonight's title game, whatever. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from several of you. 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. Billy, how else can they?
Chat room's open on YouTube. It's just to the right of the screen. If you're watching on a laptop, you also see it on your phone as well. You can reach us on Twitter and Facebook also. I'd like to hear from you.
I hope you enjoyed Eli Gold as much as I did.
That was
this
awesome.
Is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Hey, Preds fans, the Predators are back on home ice tomorrow night at 7 when they host the New York Islanders on Trisha Yearwood Bobblehead Night. Preds and Islanders tomorrow night at 7. Radio pregame coverage begins at 6.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Got a lot of folks on the line, so let's get to all of them. Let's start up in Boston. George, welcome.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
We're good. Hope you are.
Yeah, doing pretty well. I've got a couple of takes on Vanderbilt basketball and then a question for you, George, about the upcoming spring game for Vandy football.
Okay.
For basketball, I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of the additions that Vandy just made to its front court over the weekend. I think both of these guys could be pretty good additions and a better fit in Mark Byington's system than Jaylen Carey. Particularly this kid Washington from UNC. He looks like he's pretty explosive and can jump and is a lob threat and can run the floor pretty well. And it looks like he has a little bit more of a natural shot than Carey. And then with this kid Nicholson from Jacksonville State, I mean, my God, the beef on this guy. I mean, he's 6'10", 280. I mean, Vandy has not had somebody that big in a long time. And he looks like somebody who could really clog the paint and be a great garbage man on the board. So I was curious as to what you guys think of both those players.
Speaking of Jacksonville State, we should have asked Eli.
We should have.
About Mason. Yeah, 6'10", 280. Whew. He's a load. But I think you're right, George, about Jaylen Washington. He's 6'10". He's not 280, 235. But long wingspan, can shoot it a little bit. I think Byington, George, at this point, can be a little bit more picky with the guys he brings in. Last year was just let's get whatever we can. Now, I think he probably realized Carey maybe not be the best fit because he's more of a guy that you can throw it to and slow things down. Washington is a guy that will run up and down the floor. And Nicholson, they needed height and they got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. George, will you be in attendance for the spring game on Saturday for Vandy football?
Probably, yeah.
I was going to say, George, my buddies at the Door Report having a tailgate. You got to get those off-season reps in, Haas. Let's go. I can get you the information on the tailgate.
Please do. Please do, in particular,
right.
if the food is free.
Yes, food is free. George, you're familiar with these guys. I won't go into more details because the statute of limitations I don't think has run out. But, George, these are the same crew from that famous rain delay expedition of yours at a Vanderbilt baseball game from a couple years ago. I'll say no more.
Yeah, Trevor, you probably met Trevor.
Oh, I
Yeah.
do remember. That was
Yeah.
the Xavier thing where they
Yeah.
had the lightning delay and there was nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's
I
who
forgot that.
That's who you met.
George, thank you. Let's go to Ralph on line 2. Ralph, are you a new caller?
George, I am a new caller, long-time listener, first-time caller. How are you?
Good. I need you to tell 10,000 of your closest friends that we're out there.
I will, George. I will. Now, I got a bit of a two-part question for you.
Okay.
So recently, Stephen A. Smith has made headlines thinking about running for president. Now, I'm not going to get political for you. I just wanted to ask if you think he has the chops to make it through a full election cycle, and if you have any plans of running for president yourself.
That's the best question
That's
we've had
hilarious.
in a while.
The answer is no and no.
I appreciate your insight, George.
Yeah, it really took a lot. Hey, thank you for the call.
Yes, sir. And hey, I'll vote for you.
Well, not many will, but thank God there's a Ralph. See ya. Why do I get the feeling, Kelly, that he was having some fun?
Boys, I like it. I would vote for you, George.
Thank you. That really means something coming from you.
I don't know how you would be on foreign relations or things like that, but I'd vote for you.
My guess is that the Greeks would welcome me with open arms. I'm not sure about the Russians. Tony in Nolensville, you're next on 94.9.
Hello, George, Kelly, and Billy. And, well, let me just back up Ralph's call by saying, George, if you run with my 38 and a half years of Metro government experience, I'll be your campaign manager, and I'm sure Chris Kutras, with his knowledge and networks that he's got, he could be a good PR man for you. I think you could get elected.
Did you say Chris's network or net worth?
Maybe both.
I love it. What's going on?
Oh, man. Hey, guys, I got to ask a question. Who do y'all think Shay Ralph was pulling for yesterday?
That might be a better question than you. I don't know if they ended on bad terms or not. I mean, I don't think they did at UConn. But if not, I would think she's going. Yeah, I would definitely think she's going for UConn unless something happened on her way out. But I mean, she was a really good.
Maybe visually being an SEC coach pulling for the conference, but behind closed doors, she might be pulling for her alma mater, and where she, blood, sweat, and tears with her.
Yeah, she talks glowingly still about UConn, so I would guess it's the Huskies.
Kelly, I've got to ask you with your daughter, and man, I've seen more stuff on your daughter, and Pokey had her on his show the other day. You know, just a fantastic young lady. You and your wife need to be commended. Y'all have done well. So thumbs up to you and congratulations on having a class young lady right there.
Well, I appreciate that.
Of a young lady, of a daughter. I know how hard it is. So I just want to say that to you on air.
I appreciate it, Tony. Yeah, it's more of her mom than me.
Would you and I both played under Coach Donnelly and Coach Bunio and all, and heard what goes on the football field and all, but would you want your daughter playing for Dawn Staley with some of her antics and all of the things she does?
Man, I don't know about that. You think about that with your daughter, and I am certainly glad that she went where she went because the coach, Lauren Sumpsky, and her husband, they're good people. They're relational people, and I can't be overjoyed with where she went. I look at some of these big schools, and just like you talk about with Dawn Staley and with some other places, like I've heard some things about Gino as well. And I couldn't be overjoyed of where she went. I don't know if I'd want her going to a place like that.
I'll agree. And it's, their accomplishments are fantastic and all the players that's played under them. But you're right. We've all heard some some of the ugly stories and all. Guys, y'all were talking about who's got the Titans, voice of the Titans, going to be Taylor Zarzour. I tell you what, he's really a very good guy. He's thorough. I've enjoyed watching him the last couple of years or so. He comes on Friday mornings on the SEC this morning when they're getting ready for SEC weekends on the Chris Doering and Peter Burns show on the Friday mornings. And he's about as thorough as anybody. Of course, he's done some SEC games. And he handwrites every bit of his information on legal pads. He goes through legal pads, 4 and 5 legal pads every game he does. And it's really unbelievable. And he'll talk about it, but he is a very thorough, and I think he's going to be a great addition for the Titans. George, have you ever met him?
Oh, Taylor and I have known each other from, 25 years ago when he was a sports talk show host here in town. And we kind of reminisced. I'm trying to think what game it was, football game last year that he was doing.
He's called a ton of Andy over the years.
And we were kind of laughing about 25 years ago and what it was all like. And he's going to do really well. I'm happy for him. I know this was something he really wanted. So good for him.
Good for him. Guys, I'm on one last thing, and two real quick. Number one, the Auburn Tigers, I really got upset watching these guys play. As good as they are, very good, very talented, but I personally think down the stretch, I watched them play dirty basketball. And when I say dirty, I stopped my TV screen the other night. I even took a picture. I could send it to you. Of Broom coming down the floor with right at 30 seconds to go and literally shoving, and I mean a shove, to one of the Florida players. Before that, Cardwell had created such a play and grabbed another one of the players, Florida players, and by the waist and just slung him out of bounds. If y'all remember, they were going to go to check the monitor for a off-the-ball foul, and they were overruled that they could not do that. That's what they were going to look at.
Right.
I mean, I just saw them play some dirty. I thought that, it was very physical. We've seen them really get physical in the tournament. That's fine. But I think they really went beyond the line on that. So that was my take. Y'all might have seen some of the plays I'm talking about. So that's what I've got. And last thing, George, is it's interesting with this torpedo bats, that the leader of home runs right now is Judge, and he's doing it with a regular bat. I find that interesting.
Listen, he could
Guys,
hit
I'll
him out
talk
of
to you later. Thank you for taking the call. See ya.
He could hit him out of the Grand Canyon. He is one terrific player.
By the way, on Auburn, and yeah, they definitely, I don't know about dirty, but they would have, especially Baker Mazzara. We saw multiple times where he was ejected. He could come back next year. And he would be, I think he's 25 right now.
I was going to say, he's got his AARP card.
Yeah. So that's where we're at with
that. To me, this is the 25, 26-year-old. It just seems too far.
I mean, I graduated in 22. I can't imagine still being in college right now.
Oof. Okay, we're going to go to the break. We'll get to more of your phone calls. We got a bunch of you on the line. I'm going to do my best to get to all of you. This is 94.9 The Fan. But first, the Sounds are home starting tomorrow. Homestand is 6 games. The first 5 are night games. 6:35 against Memphis. The Sunday game is at 2:05. If you need more info, go to NashvilleSounds.com.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Member FDIC.
A lot of people want to define teams by singular performances.
Sports. Did he not go back into the game after that interception?
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't.
Here. You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we're going to do our best to get to as many of you as we can. So I'm going to ask each of the callers, try and give me about 2 minutes if you can. Jeff in Murfreesboro, you are the leadoff hitter.
How's it going, George?
Good.
I just want to say I'm hoping Houston wins tonight, but I was reading something today about I watched most of the Duke game Saturday night. I didn't think Houston would come back, but some of the fans, basketball fans, and media types were really mad at CBS because they always show Coach K over his little smile and like Coach Williams when Carolina's playing. He's over there clapping like some 90-year-old. Well, they won't ever show him when Duke's playing bad, or when they're like guys when they're vomiting things up and stinking it up. They won't show us his reaction then. So, and for that guy, he would have lost that ball game in '98 in the regional finals. He was up 17 on Kentucky, or 15, what it was, and Kentucky came back and beat him. That's when Tubby's fifth won it all in San Antonio, where they're playing tonight. So this stuff that Coach K is some miracle worker. Come on. Okay, well, why don't they show him when they're going bad? Why don't they do that? Do you know why?
To be honest, I've never thought about it. I wasn't aware that there was a conspiracy out there about when they show Coach K and when they don't. Look, whatever you think about Mike Krzyzewski, what he accomplished at Duke is miracle worker kind of stuff.
That's fine. I mean, we where Kentucky band's called Duke, so I don't have to go there on that. We know what Kentucky band's call them, so I'm just glad they're out and they're done. And I'm hoping Houston wins tonight. But like I told y'all before, if the SEC don't win tonight, to me it's a bad deal. 14 teams in, and you can't win it. Something's wrong with the conference. You better go back to the drawing board. See you guys.
Yeah, I don't think they're overly worried about that. Eric in Nashville, you are up next.
Hey guys, how y'all doing today?
Good.
First of all, I still cannot believe that Duke squandered that lead in the final 30 seconds of Saturday's game. This is Duke we're talking about. That would have never happened under Coach K's watch, but I just know what happened. But either way, I'm glad Houston won. I know you guys get these other callers, but I just wanted to give my take on tonight's game. I know it's going to be a good matchup. I know Florida can score quick, but Houston plays good perimeter defense. And I think tonight Houston is going to defy the odds and make Florida play down to their level. I'm going to predict Houston will get their first championship. They're going to win by 4 or 5 points. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. God bless.
Tonight's going to be a war.
It is. I'm with them.
I think so too.
I think Houston keeps rolling.
I do too. I think their experience is going to help them. I really do.
And how many times after a national title we're going to say, well, they had more experience, they were older, usually that's what comes through.
Clay in Nashville, you are up next.
George, thanks for getting me on. Busy day.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, first of all, hello to Kelly down in, is he in the borough at home?
He
Absolutely.
is.
Okay, big boy. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Watson. I'm sorry, Hoss. You're Hoss. Watson is big boy. Anyway, interesting thing I heard on the way to church yesterday, guys, regarding the Duke, losing. And I didn't think about this until I heard a pretty good coach with a national title on a national show was being interviewed. And he started at the 67-61 Duke score. And Calvin Sampson, he said, took really a big gamble for not fouling. He said it was Jim Boeheim, I didn't say his name, that Calvin took a big gamble not fouling there. He let Duke run the clock down, I think, for 30-something seconds. Yeah. And then Houston got the ball and made it 3. And if they don't make that 3 to make it 67-64, they have to foul at that point, you would think. But guy makes the 3, then Duke has the turnover, trying to inbound the ball, and Houston scores. And, you know the rest of the story. I've got to admit, kind of being someone that, along with Vanderbilt, that likes Carolina's program too, I've never seen a Duke. I mean, Duke is Duke. That's been a very good program for years. I've just never seen a program with that kind of pedigree and that, the championships, the Final Fours, all that, kind of crack under the pressure like that, let's be honest. And I thought it was incredibly sad, really, for Cooper Flagg being the player that he's been this year. And one of the best freshmen, I've ever seen play. And I enjoyed watching him play. But, that's the NCAA tournament, guys. It's kind of like the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. And, but anyway, interesting gamble by Coach Sampson. He gambled and he won. They move on. As far as tonight, all I can say is go Gators, because I'm an SEC guy. Have a great day, guys.
Talk to you, Clay. Let me get one more, unless anybody got a reaction.
Well, I was going to bring up one comment. We talked about Jaylen Carey up top. John says, how are we going to receive Jaylen Carey when he comes to Memorial next year?
He may end up hearing the words Benedict Arnold.
I mean, you saw Malik Dia. You were at the Ole Miss game.
Oh,
and
sure.
the students were all over him.
Oh, my God.
So I can't imagine.
Do you think that'll bother him, George? You may not know who Benedict Arnold is. Billy, do you know who Benedict Arnold is?
He's a traitor, famous traitor.
Eddie Arnold's cousin. I mean, who knows? Eric on line 8. I got about 2 minutes. Go.
Okay, George. First of all, I didn't get to watch much college basketball. I cut off TVs when that bad weather came through. It scared me to death. I almost came close to crawling in my bathroom, getting in the bathtub. So I just watched from the window. I've never been that close to that bad weather before. Also, congrats to Alex Ovechkin. I like the fact that he wanted to score a goal and not do it on the net or at home, which he could have done the night before, but the night before. So I appreciate that. But George, let me get to something I want to talk about real quickly: the transfer portal. I know a lot of Vandy fans are mad that he went to UT, and to me, unfortunately, this is the time we live in because I got no problem. Wherever you want to go, it's your right to do that. I don't know if I would have gone to the same school in my conference, but it is what it is because coaches have a right to go where they want to and all that type of stuff. So, but unfortunately, I think to me, there's three things about the transfer portal I don't like. Would say number one is the fact that now you've got it to the point where it's kind of like a mercenary deal where it's like now being hired mercenaries. You can go wherever you want to go. That's one of the sad parts about it. Number two, I really believe you should only be able to do it in the off season. You shouldn't do it during the season or during the tournament, whether it's college football or basketball, because why do you need somebody announcing that they're transferring, especially if you're in the playoff or something like that? I think that's bad about that. And also, I don't know what you can do about this. I think you should be limited to how many times you can transfer. It's bad when a kid transfer one season, then he transfer another season because he's not happy with his playing time there. It's just, how many times are you allowed to transfer? I mean, can you transfer as many times you want to in the 4-year period? I don't get that. I do take issue with that. Just want to get your guys' thoughts on that. Guys, y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bingo on the last one.
Yeah, bingo. I mean, you can go as many times as you want to. That's what I'm saying. In the major professional sports, they got free agency. You can't do it every year, but now in college, I mean, just like the kid we were talking about at Tulane. I mean, he this is his 5th school. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I mean, maybe today makes it's April 7th. We talked about that. I don't know if the revenue sharing affects that at all. In terms of money, can schools can you say, hey, stay here one more year for your last year of eligibility instead of going somewhere else? But I mean, we've talked about it. It's ridiculous.
Can we put the old tail of the tape up there for tonight?
Oh yeah. The national title, Florida and Houston.
Okay. I'm giving the edge in coaching to Kelvin Sampson. I'm sorry. 35 years should be worth a tad bit of an advantage, although I don't think it's ultimately what will decide the game. I give Florida the offensive edge, but not nearly as much as I thought when I started looking a little farther. Clearly, Houston defensively. But look at the old 3-point field goal thing.
Yeah.
Because the old Houston couldn't throw the thing in the barn. 40% from 3, Florida 35.8%, and free throws, which used to be welcome to Rock City from Houston, 74.2% for the Cougars, 72.6% for Florida.
Houston's a good offensive team.
Can you tell me how we got the intangibles that we have up there?
I forgot to edit that.
Can you tell us?
So Billy has Will Levis for Houston.
Oh, that's
and I guess Richardson. Yeah. Okay.
That's Anthony Richardson of the Colts.
Here are the intangibles. Okay. Houston is tougher than nails. We all know it. The Florida intangible is this kid, Walter Clayton. Does he ever miss when it matters? There is nothing in the cards that should make me take Florida. Houston feels like the better team, but you know what? I'm going Gators. Not because I like Florida. I'm not going to sit around doing this all night. But there is this thought in me that says Houston celebrated winning the national title 2 nights ago. And you know what? It was just the semifinal. I wonder if that plays out tonight.
I do feel like it could. Like, I think Florida either wins in a. Do you think you think it's a close game?
Oh, I think it goes right to the wire.
Okay,
absolutely.
Yeah. This is going to be a war. I wouldn't want to officiate this game for all the tea in China.
I'm most interested to see, can Houston bully Walter Clayton and not let him in the lane and not finish those acrobatic layups that he's been finishing? And can they get a hand up on him? I mean, they got longer guards that have been able to do that. How do they affect Walter Clayton? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Tomorrow, Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville, and I guess by then we will absolutely have an answer from the judge on the whole deal with NIL and
rev share.
Yeah, all that stuff. Anyway, until then, thanks for being with us. For Kelly Holcomb, for Billy Derrick, and a cast of thousands, George Plaster saying good night, everybody.